So this guy called me tonight, and I swear, he was like prank calling me, but I went along with it because I don't know what was going on, but I swear it was probably one of like some other YouTuber trying to get my goat, and and he was like prank calling me, trying to tell me that he got my goat. He's like literally like prank calling me, like I got your goat. It's like completely, that was hilarious. Like, okay, and he was asking me all these questions about the government and stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, man. I have no idea. So I'm some hippie traveling America. I have no idea anything about your political problems. It's like and I'm like, dude, I have no idea. You got to figure that problem out on your own. you know? It's like, uh, and so it's like, oh, so that's okay. But it's like, it was really funny. Else were you guys asking?
What else was it?
Yeah. I mean, it was really crazy. Conversation I had.
Well, he was joking about. He was joking about what?
He was joking, asking me all these questions about like sexuality and things, and I'm like, dude, like, why are you even joking about these things? Like asking me, I don't freaking know, like anything about this type of shit. Like, it like it, it's like it was freaking crazy. I didn't want to, like, and I just don't understand why people gotta joke around. And then he was like, yeah, going on and on about,
But was he political? Like, or was
yeah, I
it
felt,
a joke? Or?
yeah, I think it was mainly a joke. I think the guy is probably a comedian.
He was recording.
Yeah, I think he was recording it. He probably some type of comedian.
You gotta go and look it up. Look up the transcript and see if you can find it.
I know. I wish I would have caught it on tape because that's some good content. Even if I probably would probably share it, because it was like funny shit. But like, I didn't know how to respond to any of it because it's just like he's like literally getting to all the get your goat things, like these topics that really get people goats. And so like he's like literally it was like ChatGPT, like 5 things that get people goats. And then when you talk to things that you should have talked to about now to people in public or something, he's like, and he's probably just like asked me those 5 things that like probably would get somebody a goat.
And you're like, if you don't stop joking around, I'm gonna hang up.
Yeah. He probably like, it was funny.
But you
If you don't stop joking around and we can get back to business, I'm gonna hang up right now.
Yeah.
But you had some good answers to it. You were like, I don't give a fuck what people do. That's their business.
Like, I don't know, like, what, I don't know, that's okay. I don't know anything about that.
That was hilarious.
Like, I have no idea anything about that. What do you think about these people doing this thing to this person? Like, I have no idea. I have really no idea because, like, I'm not involved, so I really can't say, but, like...
Well,
I mean, but the thing is, like, we gotta have different people have different ideals about things in order to create balance. Like, not all one person is 100% right about anything, and not one person is 100% wrong about everything. But the fact that is like a balance of both things, because like always got to be that Goldilocks zone. Is the true answer? The true answer is that Goldilocks zone.
yeah, we do believe that there is a simple way of telling whether someone's belief is good, and that is, are they infringing upon another person? Are they hurting another person? as long as they're not doing anything that forces their opinion down someone else's throat, then they're fine. So when it comes to the border and people coming across, it's all just too complicated because no one has the right to tell them where they can come, but the land here is not actually like privately owned. So if it was private land, then the owner of the land
Yeah,
has,
just the government saying who can and can't exist here, but it's like you either own the land or you don't. It's only the owner who gets to set the terms. And yes, you have a right to restrict whoever you want from your own property. The government putting up a border and it's saying who can and can't go over it.
it's completely bogus.
It's trying to enforce dominion over something that it doesn't have.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Like, it's over my scope of understanding. Maybe.
The United States border is imaginary. It's fake.
Yeah, borders are government fakes, but if you own something, then no one has the right to tell you what to do with that thing. So that's
Yeah.
it. That's our philosophy.
And there's the thing about it is like there always got to be that other person that believes something else. That way it creates like a tension, and the tension is kind of needed to create things in balance. Like you, in order to put something in balance, you gotta one side have to be weighted to the support the other side. And in reality is hanging together. It's like two planets. It's like how planets kind of spin around each other.
Yes.
It's like it creates things tension.
Yeah. That's
And-
what
and
I
it's
always-
like-
I always tell them.
Yeah, like so that's what I was saying. Like it create
Yes. So I
Tension.
believe that I totally understand what you're saying in so many instances, but
like
in the one instance, I don't think that there's a good balance to saying I have the right to infringe upon other people's private property, or I don't, or I do have the right to do that. Like, yeah, that's the one aspect that is not negotiable. But everything else, if it's an opinion, if someone has an opinion, well, I do have the right to aggress upon another person. Well, I don't think that's a really good opinion that anyone should have. But if my opinion is, oh, I like to wear green pants, or I like to mow my lawn, like, as long as you're not affecting anyone else, then yeah, it is good to have a balance, because then you're reaching perfection. So
But you're saying I support an increase in taxes to fund anything at all. That's not okay because
Yeah,
you don't have the right
taxes
to force people to fund things that they didn't agree to.
yeah, they're not voluntary, so
it's so crazy how like a lot of things are true and not up to public opinion. That's what the different things have things. That's why the United States is supposed to be public and a democratic. Because even if the majority of the people vote one way, we still have like guiding principles that carry us through to today, like keeping us like grounded. And that's why we have that's why a republic is the republic is a government based on rules. There's like principles that we founded down from our from governments before, and then and the democratic is a public opinion side of the government, and we're like, oh, the public is swayed this way, the public is swayed that way, and I'm going to do what and that's really the whole idea of the two-party system. Maybe they're not following that for today, but like that's the way our forefathers. It's interesting how the government was set up, because it was set up by the government as it was set up by like people that wasn't for the government. Like we rebelled against another government to form the United States.
yeah.
Like
What they left out of the Declaration of Independence, is that it? What they left out was things should only be decided by the unanimous consent of the governed, not just the consent of the governed. And so we don't believe in democracy. That's the tyranny of the majority over the minority.
yeah.
So the same thing with, if they had just started with, you only can be subject to rules that you have agreed to, then stop there, then we think that would be a good thing to base off of. But instead, the Constitution turned into something that wasn't based on the truth, which is everybody everybody has the right to govern themselves first and foremost. And so that's why we understand the constitutionalist approach, but we don't agree with it. So yeah, there's a few problems. I mean, there's a few things that we like about the Constitution. I mean, some of the people were anti-federalists. You know, so at least
Some of the founding fathers, there isn't a founding fathers agreement. There was disagreement. There were the Federalists who supported a strong centralized federal government. And then there were the anti-federalists who supported the minimal, if not non-existence of a federal government.
so that every state was able to govern itself. And yeah, so we agree with some of the founding fathers that there shouldn't be a federal.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's like kind of really crazy how like a government we were like literally, it was all like our government was created from another government. Now the people that rebel against the government, that's why we had a civil war, because even in our own government there was enough people that was going against the government to create another government within the government. It's like, and it's like,
it's all due to people trying to control other people's actions.
and that's why we have a civil war, and people want to make it up against you know.
And we're told that the Civil War was about slavery, but
Yeah, but it actually about enough people who are coming against the current government to almost overthrow and create their own government.
Well, they needed to. Everyone wants decentralization because everyone wants to be able to make their own decisions. So.
I mean, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, that's really what happened in the Civil War.
They had a right to fight for independence from the Union, but it's wrong to impose the Confederate government on people too. So you have another problem that you immediately create.
You automatically
to fight one government
with
and to do another government to fight it. Like that's like. God.
But a lot of states, people want to secede from the U.S. It's not going to happen, but that would be so good.
a lot of different states actually wanted to secede from the United States at one point or another.
Yeah.
And they taking all these Civil War monuments down. It's like, you know, I mean, I understand, like, you know, the like political guidance against, you know, teaching issues, but like it's our history. People should know, like, history is important. Like, yeah, like, you know, it sucks that these things happen, but the fact that we can't even talk about them is like, you know.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess we would also take down
But-
all war monuments just because we think that, you know,
Yeah, we should have had a war. People should be fighting, and like,
we shouldn't have a government at all. Yeah.
and like they talk, like all these, like people need to see how we got to where we are, so we don't repeat it.
Yeah. And
And we gotta be able to like look in the past and even like when false. So we need to learn from every action, and as society we should learn on the actions of our forefathers.
Well, we're not even taught about all the different ways society can work.
Yeah.
There have been 1,000 years of societies in the recent future, not like, you know, ancient aliens or whatever, but, you know, in Ireland there's something called Brehon Law, and I have a section on my website where I go over like 5 different examples of civilizations that didn't have a central government, but they were still able to survive for hundreds and thousands of years, sometimes not hundreds of thousands, but sometimes thousands of years, because that's the actual natural way for people to exist. It's the empires that we're taught about, and the empires are just the wrong way of doing things.
Yeah, like I watched this whole history about like taxation farmers, and the farmers have to, and then one of the ways they maintain capitalization is to create monoculture. So every farmer grows their own thing,
Okay.
and then they force on trading, and then they control the trade.
Oh.
And that's, you know.
So that reminds talking to me about this and about the actually Joshua.
And that's like how the OD like governments was formed.
Like serfdom, yeah. So this guy was just talking about how like in the past, like the kings like owned the land, and then when they stopped owning the land, they just started like taxing people, or I forget. But we were talking about the commons. Have you heard about the commons? There used to be areas in I don't know if it's England or Ireland or something, that there was huge gardens that were common, so everyone could take take the fruits and stuff, and they made up this thing in like the 50s or the 40s. Oh, the tragedy of the commons. Well, if there was a common area, then someone would come and take all the apples from the apple tree, and it's actually totally not true. Like, it was just this propaganda made up to get people to think that that people aren't able to manage their own land, and like even places, if it has to be, people can like do whatever they would do without having the government say, well, now there's no commons. And that's kind of a socialist idea, honestly, but I learned it back when I was a socialist. I'm trying, but I did connect it to like my current thoughts, but I just forget how. But Joshua, he was talking about how it's something about the farmers used to have control by owning the land, and then when they stopped being farmers, they just like put governments in effect to a new way to control people, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I should re-ask Joshua exactly how.
He said it went from farmers ruling to.
No, from kings owning or ruling the land. Oh, he said that land ownership came from that.
Yeah, now we're going to create machines that going like rule all of us.
Land ownership came from.
I think he said that land ownership is fucked, and it came from that there used to be the kings and the serfs.